Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian, and today I have a really cool pistol to show you. This is a pistol designed by Isaac Newton Lewis, the famous inventor of the Lewis light machine gun, and this pistol is basically a Lewis light machine gun rebuilt into pistol form. Really very slick. So it's a gas-operated rotating bolt pistol, and it actually even fires from an open bolt, just like a Lewis light machine gun. Lewis filed a patent on this pistol in 1919. It was approved in 1922, and presumably he was doing this to try to appeal to the U.S. government or the U.S. military, probably. There's no definitive proof that I can find of that. However, it's a .45 caliber automatic pistol. Lewis was clearly involved in military firearms and trials. Now, this didn't get adopted, of course, because in 1919, well, you know, it hadn't even been 10 years since the U.S. had adopted the 1911 Colt Browning pistol, which was a fantastic pistol, a far better pistol than this one, in fact. The idea that this fires from an open bolt really makes it, to me, a very dubious pistol from a practical point of view. But mechanically, this thing's really cool. So let's go ahead and take a closer look, pull it apart, and I'll show you how it works. All right, so one Lewis gas-operated pistol. Now this is semi-auto only, despite being an open bolt gun like the Lewis light machine gun. We've got a charging handle sort of here. This is, of course, our gas tube. Gas comes up here. It hits a piston head right there, which is connected to our bolt back here. You can see the action is wide open. We have a grip safety right here. If you look up close, you'll see what the grip safety does is simply block the trigger from moving backwards, so very simple there. We have a magazine release right here. It's spring-loaded. You push forward and you can pull the magazine out. However, I have no magazine. This pistol doesn't have its magazine, just something that has gone missing over the past 100 years since this was built. This is in .45 ACP. And it would have been equipped, according to Lewis's patent, with a 15-round magazine. So pretty big double stack magazine in there. The sights are a bit small, not really all that unusual for the time period. There you go. It's a sight picture. Really though, poor sights are not that big of a deal when you have to deal with an open bolt pistol that fires like this. Kerchunk. So what's happening here is the bolt actually rotates and locks, and then the firing pin comes forward and fires the cartridge. Let's go ahead and pull the bolt out and you can see that more clearly. Disassembly is very simple. This is our recoil spring. Push that in and then I can pull this back plate off the gun. There we go. That's started. Pull this off, keep a thumb on there for the recoil spring. So there's our spring and guide. And then we can pull this assembly out the back. Now this is kind of clever. This threads onto the actual gas piston, and the way this works, let's take this all the way off. So there's the gas piston. This is just a sleeve that fits over it with a big slot here to run on over the gas tube. So the piston goes inside the gas tube. This sleeve goes outside the gas tube, just like that. And this allows you to basically hold on to the gas piston sort of effectively and use it as a charging handle. The slot, that slot right there, allows it to slide over this one area where the gas piston tube is connected to the barrel. So that has to be lined up just right, and then it slides there. The machining on this is really nice. These things fit and just slide together really nicely. Now let's take a closer look at this. If you are familiar with the Lewis gun, you will recognize this. We have here is actually a 2-lug rotating bolt. It is a locked system. There we go. So when this gas piston goes forward, it's going forward in this configuration. It'll pick up a cartridge. Get back in there. It'll pick up a cartridge, and then the bolt face here will hit the back of the barrel. Spring pressure is going to force the piston to continue moving forward. That forces the piston to run in this cammed track, which rotates the bolt, engages the locking lugs, and then when the piston comes all the way forward, the firing pin is exposed. Now the reason for that is exactly like the reason for this operation on the Lewis gun. The firing pin here, which by the way is reversible, you've actually got two firing pin ends, so if one breaks you can just flip it around and use the other. And that firing pin is actually mounted on the gas piston like that. So it's a fixed firing pin, and it's traveling in this cam track. It forces the bolt to rotate. That means the bolt is locked, and then at that point it goes the last little bit forward, protrudes out through the bolt face, and fires the cartridge. Literally, this is a miniaturized Lewis gun. Alright, so I've got the bolt and the gas piston put back in the gun, but without the recoil spring or the rear plate. You can see here through the ejection port that this is going to go forward, there we go, until the bolt hits the back of the barrel right there. Then that cam track forces it to rotate as the gas piston goes the rest of the way forward. And as soon as it's done rotating, the firing pin is going to protrude out the front and fire. We can see that locking and unlocking through the back of the action as well, right there. So it goes clockwise about 45 degrees. That locks both of those lugs into recesses in the frame. As far as I can tell, this is a one-of-a-kind pistol. There are no markings on it at all, no serial numbers, no caliber markings, no patent markings, nothing. Oh, I should point out this. This is an empty space in the back of the grip. I suspect that this was a manual safety mechanism that is either missing or was never installed. The reason I think that is because the trigger has to have a connecting bar that goes from here right back to here where the sear is. The sear is at the very back because it does fire from an open bolt. I suspect this was a latch that had a little arm that came up here, and when it was all the way up, it would lock that transfer bar in position so that you couldn't move the trigger and you couldn't drop the sear. And then when you disengage the safety, you would pull it down. It would move out of the way of that transfer bar and allow you to fire. I can't prove that, but that's my suspicion based on this thing being missing. It's definitely not a mag release because we have that. It's not, you can't really see it here with the camera, but this hole doesn't open up into the magazine well at all, so it doesn't affect the magazine, and it doesn't appear to open up into the main area of the action either. So this hole on the bottom is part of the manufacturing process, I believe, that is used to give you access to drill the gas port up here. That's why that's there. And then you've got a pin here which is holding on this front barrel assembly. So for complete disassembly or manufacture, you would drive out that pin, and then this whole barrel assembly with the gas block comes off the front. So I believe this is the only surviving example. I don't know how many were actually made, but it certainly was not very many. Could even have been just one that was done to this level of fit and finish. Extremely cool to get a chance to take a look at. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this and learned something new about a cool pistol you probably didn't know existed. If you do enjoy this sort of content, please do consider checking out my Patreon page. It's the folks who help support me there that make it possible for me to track down cool guns like this and bring them to you guys. So if you can't, I totally understand, no big deal. Share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and enjoy. Thanks for watching. Really, poor sights are not that important when you have to deal with an open bolt pistol that fires like this. Wow, that was less than impressive, wasn't it?